All right, well, before we get started today, I want to give a big shout out and thanks to everyone that has subscribed over on YouTube. We just recently passed 100 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. Today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. We're talking about that game, Sea of Thieves, and to join me, I have Bryce. Say hi,
Hello,
Bryce.
everybody.
You guys probably recognized his voice from some of the previous videos, so.
Yeah. I'm like Scott, but less swole and not a doctor.
Yeah. So before we really get into stuff, we'll just give ourselves a good introduction on who we are, history with Sea of Thieves, and gaming in general. So, Bryce, you picked up Sea of Thieves around the Shrouded Spoils update, I believe.
Yes, yeah. So Sea of Thieves, I got into Sea of Thieves because it had like a 2-week free trial period,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like might as well give it a try.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I played it, and I really liked it. So when Shrouded Spoils came out, I got it on sale, and I've pretty much loved every minute of it. This game is just very solid across the board, and like the minor problems it has don't outweigh the overall good quality that is this game.
So you picked it up, like your free trial was during Shrouded Spoils?
No, it was that came out that December. I think it was in November or
Yeah,
October.
Shrouded Spoils came out in November. I thought that's when that's when I started picking it back up. And I think that's when I tried to get you interested in it.
So yeah, it was probably around that time then, yeah. And then I bought it for myself for Christmas.
Mm-hmm. And then I picked up the game. I actually played the open beta, and then pre-ordered 2 copies of the game so me and Victoria could play.
Oh my.
Because I knew I was gonna like it, and I had a good feeling that she was gonna like it too.
Mm-hmm. Bet that business decision didn't look super hot in the beginning though.
No, but I mean, when it came out and it first launched, I mean, we played the crap out of Sea of Thieves for probably all of March and April and maybe into May.
Right.
We played a lot of it.
And then you ran out of stuff to do.
And then we kind of ran out of stuff to do, and it didn't feel like really grinding towards Pirate Legend at the time, and it was even more difficult back then. It was a lot harder to get all the gold you wanted. So that's basically my history of Sea of Thieves, and then I kind of stopped playing, picked up some other games, mainly Destiny 2. What was that, Forsaken, when that came out?
Yeah, and then I remember.
And that's how I met you, actually, was through Forsaken.
This is such a this is such a funny way how we met. So it was in July. I had kind of ditched Destiny because I was a big Destiny. I've been playing Destiny since Vanilla D1.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of ditched it again, and in July, Gambit was like put up a free 24-hour trial. So I wanted them like, you know what? It's free. I'm gonna go see what this is. And I had a lot of fun. And somehow I bumped into some buddies from a golf camp that I went to. And I'm like, hey, are you guys getting this? And they're like, yes. I'm like, sick. I have people to play with, because I cannot think of a worse game to play by yourself than Destiny. I just really
I mean, I can think of one right now that we're talking about.
All right, well, no.
Sea of Thieves
anyway.
yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Well, yeah,
I've not heard
never
this story.
played Sea of Thieves,
I've not heard this story before. Keep going.
And so I start playing with them, but then they all kind of drop off because they were like, the story's bad. I'm like, if you bought Forsaken for the story, you're just not. You're buying the game for the wrong reason.
Mm.
And this funny thing is, the Forsaken story is like the best story Destiny's ever had. But if you're buying D2 for the story, that's just not what you're supposed to do. And so I'm moping around. I'm like, you know what? I don't have that whisper gun. I'm going to try and find people to get it. So I go through the Destiny companion app, and I see these 2 people.
Oh, that's
Murdoch
how we
and
met.
Rocket Queen.
That's the Destiny companion app. That's funny.
And I'm like, hey, can I join? They're like, yeah, sure. They ran me through Whisper. And then I was like, really, because I really love this game, but I needed people to play with. I'm like, can I join your clan? They're like, yes. I'm like, can I bring my friend Zach? And they're like, yeah, sure. I'm like, oh, thank God. And well, now we're here.
Yeah.
Over a year later.
And then basically when Forsaken kind of started dying down when we did the raid and all, Sea of Thieves really started picking back up with Shrouded Spoils. And basically that combined with the eventual anniversary update really turned into what it is today, which is, I mean, compared to when it launched, it's a huge difference.
It's literally a different game. I mean, I never played the beginning, but
Mhm. Yeah, so in the beginning, when the game first came out, you had the 3 reputations to level up. You had the Merchant Alliance, Order of Souls, and the Gold Hoarders. And you had Skeleton Forts. And that was basically it.
oh my god.
I don't even think roaming ships were in vanilla Sea
Are
of
you
Thieves.
kidding?
Yeah,
No, they're right. You're right.
there
I
wasn't.
think
Yeah, there wasn't ship skeleton battles.
those came with the Cursed Sales update, right?
Yeah, but they were. Actually, I don't. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember going on skeleton ships when it first launched.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was definitely a good update, and it was hard to level up the Merchant Alliance because they didn't have a like the Ancient Bone Dust or whatever.
Oh,
In Skull Forts. So you had to like deliver pigs basically.
so it was just the barrel and the skull. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So people that like, I think you could turn in powder kegs, and that was about it for other stuff. But like people that hit Pirate Legend and Vanilla, like they delivered a lot of pets, and I was not into that. Well, not pets, but animals. Pets are something new. So yeah, that's basically our background on this game, and I guess other games we play in general, such as Destiny and a few other ones. So overall, I'd say we're pretty positive on this game.
For sure.
What do you enjoy most about Sea of Thieves?
For me, Sea of Thieves is like, for me, a good game is a game that you can just kind of boot up and you don't really need a set objective to do, and you can still have fun. Sea of Thieves to me is that game. You can just be like, you want to do pirate stuff? Like, yeah, sure. It's like, it's great because you can just load in and you kind of go wherever the world takes you. If you run into a player ship, you have to run into a player ship. You run into the Kraken, you run into the Kraken. There's a lot of, uncertainty, which is a lot of fun.
If you've ever watched one of like the developer diaries or whatever, when they were making this game, they call that emergent gameplay, and they're really big on that.
Okay.
Where just things happen, and like no 2 play sessions are usually the exact same.
Okay.
Ideally. And they also kind of similar to that. Of what I really like is the horizontal progression, is what they call it. So like your character doesn't really get more powerful. There's not like power levels,
Right.
So if you kind of step away from the game for a little bit, because that's just natural to do, and you come back, you're not like severely underleveled or anything like that. You might
It's
have.
not like the fire ship cosmetics do more damage. All cannons do the same. All pistols do the same, and
You might have just like missed a few cosmetic updates or things like that, but you're not like, you don't have to play catch up to play with your friends again.
Right.
Like,
and even with the cosmetics now, they're like, reintroducing some variants of those older cosmetics, so you can just get them again anyway.
Yeah, and then it's a great game to introduce new friends too, because they can join right alongside you. Like they don't have
That's how we met Kyle, right?
Yeah, Kyle, we met, who you guys might have heard in some other videos. I met him solo slooping, actually. It's like the rare instance where you solo sloop and you get matched with like someone who's competent and knows what they're doing. They're not like speaking a different language or something, and you actually get some stuff done.
Nice.
So that turned into a good time. I think that's like the one time I've had that happen, maybe twice. So we got that. Overall, the really big thing that happened to this game was the anniversary update, which brought Tall Tales to the game.
Oh yeah.
Which, those were somewhat like the coolest experience I've had in games.
Doing the first Tall Tale for the first time and freaking out trying to solve that puzzle before you drowned was definitely a great experience.
I'm sure most people watching this have played Sea of Thieves, but if you haven't, Tall Tales are like, you need to experience them and bring some friends if you can, because it's just so cool. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, and their most recent Tall Tale, the one with Captain... what's his face?
Flameheart, spoiler alert.
Flameheart, yeah, Captain Flameheart. Oh man, just Such good content.
That was the Seabound Soul one, yeah.
Such good content.
And that looks like it's setting up a future. Hopefully a set of Tall Tales.
That would be nice, yeah.
I'm guessing we'll get into this later about future, but they're gonna have like a year 2 anniversary update that will encompass that kind of stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So Tall Tales are awesome. The other good thing with Sea of Thieves, and developers in general for most games are getting better at this, but it's developer clarity is unprecedented with how well Rare is transparent with mostly everything they do.
Right.
And that started like from the first day the game came out.
Which that usually doesn't happen with game. Usually a game needs to like struggle and have issues for developers to be like, oh, we're gonna come and talk because that's gonna give us some bump points in the community because we're being transparent.
Oh, it had issues. You weren't there for launch on launch day. Their servers were just bombarded.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, the servers.
They were judging their how many people they were going to get based off their open beta numbers or something like that. So the open beta was free, and then they were judging that. I think they like double. They expected maybe around that, or maybe a little bit more than what they got for the open beta.
Interesting.
And they got like quadruple the numbers of their open beta.
Right.
So yeah, the servers just tanked. You couldn't get in.
That's cool that you got all those people, but also, why didn't you prepare for this? What are you doing?
Yeah, you couldn't get in to the game, and then when you did, if you turned in loot, it took like maybe 2 or 3 days or something like that for that gold to show up in your account. Like,
my God,
it was such a bottleneck of information that their servers did not know what was going on. So they uploaded like a whole YouTube video with like the main 2 guys, Joe Neat, and I don't remember the other guy's name, like drawing on a whiteboard of what was going on exactly.
That is hilarious.
And then like with their weekly streams they do, and they're playing their own game, which for one is pretty. I think that's a pretty good thing for developers to do. I'm sure most do, but the fact that they're streaming it and
because like they all say they play it, but then they do things. And you're like, but are you really playing it? Type 2 a Battlefield. Oh God.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Sorry, my bad. Fuck you, Dice.
That's a different video.
Yes.
Any other overall positive
I just
things?
really enjoy doing ship raids and forts.
Mm-hmm.
Even though forts are more repetitive than ship raids, but they're all pretty much the same experience every time. But they're still they're fun enough to just where they don't really get boring. Yeah, and thankfully there's enough stuff to do in the game now where they're not your only option, like they would be like back in the vanilla version of this game.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely hold up. They've held up well over time, at least in my experience.
And they both recently got kind of like a mini pass-through update with the Ashen ship battles, and the Skull Fort's got like a mini update where they started adding in like the final bosses, kind of.
The skeleton lords.
Yeah, they added the mini skeleton lords to the stronghold forts, which gives kind of like a good ending to that like kind of encounter. I think more on the skeleton lords themselves later, but it's a good concept to have for that kind of thing. And then the Ashen ship battles, they really just add like the fire bombs to those ships, basically.
Right, and fire bombs to the game.
Yeah, and the fire bombs update was definitely a solid update.
Oh yeah.
Also, another good thing they've been doing is obviously just continually updating and adding to the game. They've done a really good job on since launch.
For sure.
Where this is 10 times better than it was when it first came out. So that's most of the good things. We'll probably find some more later that we can add in. Time to talk about those not so good things.
Arena. What a joke.
I'm sure we'll get some hate for this. Like, you guys just suck at Arena. It's like, no, I don't suck at Arena. We played Arena hard when it came out.
Right.
I don't play much Arena anymore, but when I played it, I think we played like at least 26, 28 games and
Yeah.
won like 25 of them.
We had like a 90+% win rate.
So
And that's
it's not like we're hating on Arena because we sucked at it, but we don't like the concept of how it's implemented.
like initially playing it, it was fun. And then
Hmm.
after like that time, you're like,
Once you're
and people started learning like the ins and outs of the game mode and how to like really cheat the system or find the best way to win.
Yeah, once we really learned like the system of it, where you're just trying to avoid other players and dig up chests.
Which that's like not what Sea of Thieves should be about. It should be about sinking ships, not
Yeah,
dodging them.
like I think at most there should be two chests open at a time. Or not open, but like available to dig up at a time.
Right.
There should be two max, and that should be it. Like everyone needs to fight over those one or two chests. Maybe
Right.
just one. Just try it with one chest. See what happens. I don't know. I think
So that puts emphasis back on the PvP aspect of the game.
yeah, I mean, if you have a map with like 5 or 6 chests on it, like, and you're near it at the start, like that's
Yeah.
GG.
And heck, there's usually multiple islands that pop up, each one with their own chests on it. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So I think I don't know. There is a separate company that's developing Arena. So like Rare is actually not in charge of Arena updates and stuff like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
They said I can't remember who. It's some small team is supposed to be in charge of updating and adding stuff.
Okay.
So, but I think yeah, just having like 1 or 2 chests that you really have to fight over, because Arena is meant to be for PvP players,
Right.
and PvP players hate Arena. From what I experienced and what I've seen online, like if you want to do like ship to ship battles and have them be meaningful, like you go out in adventure mode.
And even that, to kind of segue into like the next thing I'm not a humongous fan of is
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm not a tech guy. I don't know the ins and outs of servers and stuff like that. But I swear to God, it feels like we run into a player ship once every like 12 hours. It's just like,
Yeah,
and when you
it's
see one,
gotten
you get
bad.
all excited because you're like, oh my God, we can actually go fight somebody in this pirate game. What a concept.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some lulls where you're just like,
Oh God.
where's
Just-
everybody? I don't know what's going on with the servers, but when the game first came out, you didn't experience that. Like I saw a
Right.
ship every 20-30 minutes or so. I think that's what and that's what they wanted. Like that's the rarest design of the game.
And then I think they somehow when they like combine the Xbox and the PC like servers to make them like joint, I feel like they
Well, they were always joint. Since launch they were joint. They did a thing where Xbox players can opt out, but but they showed the statistics of that, and only like 9% or something of Xbox players opted out of playing with PC. So that's not it. I think a big thing was when they added the new region to the game, the Devil's Roar.
Mm-hmm.
You made the world bigger, but you kept the player
The server size the same.
server size the same, so it just felt more empty.
Like you don't have to add to a lot of ships. Like just maybe 2 ships, and that's
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's like 6 or 8 ships per server. I think it's based
That
on
sounds
player. It depends if you have galleons or not on the server.
that's true. Yeah.
But I think adding like an average of 2 ships per like expansion area like that will be good.
Yeah.
Because I definitely like one of the things I want them will get more into the future is to add more regions.
Right.
And which is good, like that'd be awesome, but you'd also just really dilute your player
Yeah.
density.
Because you keep doubling the world, but the player stays the same. Nobody's ever going to kill each other, and it takes kind of all the tension out of the game.
Yeah, so definitely player density I would like to see improved. Let's see, another bad thing, or just not huge on, is some of the combat updates that have come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like, I wasn't like a fan of double gunning. I never did double gunning or whatever that was.
Same.
But some of the changes to like sword play and stuff like that seem kind of weird, I guess. I don't know,
it wasn't fluid.
yeah, I think it almost feels like it was meant to balance PC and Xbox players from what happened. Because when this game first came out, like I could tell a big difference if someone was playing on PC or Xbox because like you could just take out 4 people with a sword, basically. I don't know. It's not where I would like it to be, I guess.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that
sword lull after you miss for like 5 seconds, you couldn't
yeah,
swing.
they've definitely fixed that where it's less of a lull. But it's not the obviously it's not the most in-depth combat system.
Right.
And it's something that is really keeping the game from being really good, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't it's tough because it's a combat system where you're going against hordes of skeletons in like play in PvE context. But you're also doing like 1v1 player battles against another real person.
Right, exactly.
And that doesn't really correlate as well, I guess.
Exactly.
I know there's other like big first person like melee combat games like Mordhau and things like that. Or what's that other one by Ubisoft? That's what I'm talking about. I don't think it's first person. I think it's third person. Can't think of it, but there's other examples out there of probably more in depth
right.
combat mechanics, I guess, that they could think of looking into.
Right.
It's definitely like if you've seen any review of this game, or I mean, even if you played it, you're like, yeah, you don't really play it for the combat
That's
system.
The
It's the sense of adventure, but it could further be enhanced by a more solid combat system, definitely. What about you, Bryce? Any other negatives you're thinking of?
I outside of like the tall tales and like ship raids and ship forts, I feel like the quest system gets old very quickly because everyone just gives you the same version of their quests. They're just longer. So like Order of Souls, go kill this skeleton. Gold hoarders, go dig up this chest. The merchant, go secure these pigs. And then the different variations are just longer missions. They're not necessarily harder. They're just longer. And it can get very annoying sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely like if you want to do one of those longer missions, you're budgeting out some time, definitely.
Exactly.
Which is fine, but it's like a lot of time for like a little bit of depth in terms of like
exactly
gameplay quality.
It's like I'd rather have a super in-depth mission, but it only take me 30 minutes than a super shallow mission take me like 2 hours, it feels like. You know? So.
You should have seen like when they first found out that Pirate Legend content was just what do you call it?
Exactly.
It was just more of the same missions.
Right. Yeah.
So, they've done a little bit of a pass through, at least on the what do you call them? The riddle quests, where you're finding more stuff at least to turn in. So the other bad thing for me was some of the monthly updates obviously weren't the greatest.
Yeah. Duke, I don't want the skeleton bones. I mean, come on, man. Get that out of here.
What was the one where we would go to an island, you'd dig up some stuff,
and then you have to deliver it to an outpost, but only by a certain time.
Yeah, you would deliver it to an outpost or a sea post, and you didn't have enough time to dig them all up and turn them all in, and it was
to get the doubloons. And if you turned them in late, you just get like gold.
Yeah, they've gotten a little bit better in the most recent updates, but the updates since the anniversary update, like the months following that, were definitely some of the weakest.
Yeah.
Yeah, those definitely were. I think we kind of stopped playing for a little bit during then.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we're like, well, I don't feel like turning in a creative bones to some.
For no reason.
Just for no reason. I don't know, for 10 doubloons. Which I guess we'll keep going with a few more bad things that will eventually segue into what we want in the future to be added. Is that at least for us or any hardcore players, at least gold and doubloons in that have become pretty useless. Would you agree about that?
I guess so, but then again, when you're at like the point where we're at in the game, I feel like that's only natural. So I don't
Yeah.
think that's a. Obviously, I would love a new reason to spend my money outside of cosmetics, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't really find that to be a big of a deal.
Well,
Although
that
it does kind of take the meaning out of playing the game if the one loot source you're like looting for doesn't do anything.
yeah, well that thrill of turning in
Like 10 million gold.
10 million gold and then leveling up and getting gold and all that is like, I mean, that's long gone for us.
Exactly.
Like, it used to be the best thing, but after a certain point, it's like, well, we don't. I'm just like adding to my bank account essentially.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot going on for that.
Right.
Um, which I think I might get some flack for this, but I think like a season or something, like this is a live service game, and most
So getting a season's pass.
So I hate that word.
That's what they're called.
I don't want to call it a season pass. It might not even have to be something you pay for because they have their other in-game shop that funds them.
Right.
But seasons where like you level up your rank in the season with gold or doubloons or some way like that where you're leveling up something else, I guess.
And then there's rewards tied to that.
And then there's rewards tied to each level, and
Okay.
they can be, I mean, I guess they'd still be cosmetic, but they would have to be, good-looking cosmetics. They couldn't be reskins and recolors of things we already have. They could be pets. There could be, this game's obviously full of cosmetic variety options.
Right.
So they could add in pets, ship parts, sails, weapons, clothing, all of that stuff. Titles, tattoos.
So I guess you kind of segued into what you want in the game. So you want like a season style thing.
I think number one on my list would be like seasons, like a Sea of Thieves seasons. Considering this is obviously deemed like a live service game, whether it's like got a paid season pass or not, that's not for me to really know much about because I'm not a business guy. It couldn't be more than like $10 because that's what season passes go for.
Right.
But ideally, it's for people that play this game, a lot, and it's their main game. And $10 every 3 or 4 months,
it's not that real big of a deal.
And it would add, I think, a good sense of reason to play more.
One thing I would like to see added to the game is you got these mermaids in the game, and all you really do with them is you get the gems. But there's all this like lore in the game that's tied around the mermaids, and I just think there's a lot of untapped potential. And I don't know what they're working on at Rare right now. Maybe they're preparing to tap into that flow of story and whatnot. But I really would like to see something else besides just them being gem holders for us.
Gem holders and like Uber drivers to get us to our ships.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one of the things I've always thought would be really cool would like a tall tale kind of around mermaids, where it would have a big like underwater aspect.
Yeah.
To it. Like there's underwater, caves and.
Right.
Well, I guess there's like one underwater cave in this game, maybe two. But I think it'd be really cool if there was like you would get like an item that would let you breathe underwater for this tall tale. And you'd have to be like swimming through. You've seen the fourth Harry Potter movie, right?
Oh, I've seen them all, yeah.
Yeah, like that scene in the fourth movie where they're like swimming underwater and they're going through like deep seaweed, and you'd like go through caves and you'd end up in a cave and like fight some kind of evil mermaid boss thing or something like that. There's a lot there that could be done and added to, I think.
And then I'm not sure how big of a want or need in the community this is, but skeleton like roaming ships is very cool,
Mm-hmm.
but
Oh yeah,
I would
definitely.
really like to see another enemy faction, whether that's the mermaids in some degree or just another faction. I would like to see another roaming PvE entity going around because hey, if you're gonna keep the server size the same, well, gosh darn it, I want something else to shoot at, and you know,
Are you thinking of like a land threat or like a water
I
threat?
was thinking more of a naval threat, kind of like how the British are viewed in like Pirates of the Caribbean. You'd have like this royal company sailing around and like,
Oh,
I'll serve the queen and the king of whoever,
it's
and like,
like a British invasion into the Sea of
yeah,
Thieves.
like something like that. Yeah, I don't know. That's
That'd be pretty nutty.
like that's kind of what I would like.
Like they get word that like the Merchant Alliance is making bank or something, and they went in on that.
Yeah, and they want to get in on the money because there's a ton of money in Sea of Thieves. Like, well, that money's for the queen. We want the money.
So that'd be like a good what do you call it? Like a good like monthly community event
Yeah,
where it's like Sea of Thieves players have to drive off the British invasion.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe not call them the British invasion. I don't know. Well, Rare is British. They might not want to go back to their empire of a past.
Final boss is Joe Neat. Captain Joe.
All right, if they ever release like a Sea of Thieves 2, they better have like the final boss of Sea of Thieves 1 just be Joe Neat.
All right, that'd be pretty great.
Just embrace it. It's happening. Um yeah, so I think like like maybe evil mermaids, I guess, would be another good one to add in.
Mm-hmm.
Um just as like another threat to encounter. Maybe
Exactly.
maybe they would be like um around shipwrecks or something like that.
That'd be interesting.
Um
I mean, these ships had to sink somehow.
Yeah, there's definitely concept art of like evil mermaids being near shipwrecks, protecting some gold. I used to have this really good idea for shipwrecks, and I cannot think of it right now.
Rip.
I have to write that down and come back to it later.
Write that down. Write that down.
It was something I had something really good about what I thought shipwrecks should be added into because they're such a cool idea, but
Yeah.
there's more that could be done with them. What else I want added? This is the given. We've already talked about it, but it's more islands or regions added into the game.
For sure.
I don't know if you've seen the concept art, or not concept art, but it's like fan-made concept art that's really good. Someone made like a frozen tundra
Yeah,
Sea
I've
of
seen
Thieves.
that. Yeah.
I put that in my one of my last videos. Something like that, like if you put on the southern, I guess northern could be either one.
Well, yeah.
Edge of the map. There's actually a big gap right now on the southern edge of the map from where the Ashen Reaches is in the
Something
Devil's
needs to go
Roar.
there.
It's got to be square, right? The Earth is a square.
Yes, of course.
So the map's got to be a perfect square too.
Naturally.
So something like that could be really cool. And if you add like a tall tale to it for like explaining why it's there or something would be really neat. Something else I was thinking of, kind of along the same lines, is if you can't really make the server size bigger for technical reasons, is I hate this game and I'm not a big fan of it. But what Fortnite did to their game was
Oh, bots?
no, not bots. They completely redid their map.
Oh, right.
Like they blew up their world or whatever. I don't remember, and they made a whole new map that their game is based off of.
Mm-hmm.
So either like I don't know, like replacing like a section and adding new islands there, because I can only go to Wander's Refuge so many times.
Don't say that name. I hate
That's
that.
my least favorite island.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Either giving islands like a strong pass through. I know they talked about it before of like adding traps and stuff, but making islands either more interesting or just replacing them with new islands.
Yeah,
I guess
I feel that.
that would be because a big part of this game was like a sense of adventure and discovery, which
Right.
I mean, as a live service game, you can only maintain for so long without adding in new places to discover.
Right.
So something like that would be really cool. And then eventually, like, you could bring old islands back as like a nostalgia hit.
Right.
when you haven't been to them for a year or so, kind of deal. So something like that, I think, could be a good idea. And then the other thing I was thinking of was, well, everyone thinks about this, is more ship types.
Oh, of course.
Um, I think a 4-man ship is probably as big as you would need to go.
I just can't imagine a
I've
6-player
I've
ship.
seen like fan made content of like 6 or 7 or 8-player ships of like a man of wars that are like 2 levels of cannon and stuff, and
Oh, jeez.
that would look cool, obviously.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. It might be a bit rough.
Yeah.
The one I was thinking of was a ship that's really geared towards solo players.
Yeah.
And you can say the sloop is like, yeah, it's a solo sloop, it's what you do. But you think about it, like you have a ship for 4 people, that's the galleon. You have a ship for 3 people, it's the brigantine.
Right.
And then you have a ship for 2 people, which is a sloop. It's not really meant for one person.
It can be done, but you have to do a lot of running around.
It's definitely not designed for one person. I think like a 1-person sloop size could be really interesting to go with.
For sure.
I don't know what it would look like. It would be smaller.
I don't know if you saw Falcor. It was like a raft, and like you kind of rode
Oh,
the boat around the Sea of Thieves.
Did he make like a concept video of that?
Yeah, he did.
I'll have to watch that at some point. Yeah, I don't know about a raft. I feel like that'd be rough.
Well, yeah. But I mean, it had a mini sail on it. Too,
yeah,
though.
And then like the anchor, I think they could redesign an anchor where it's not like a turn anchor one. It's like something you would throw out.
Oh yeah.
And then just kind of pull back. It'd have to be quick because this anchor is meant for 2 people to bring up, not just one.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, this game is already rough enough to play with by yourself, and trying to solo sloop is it's a mess, I guess.
Oh, you're right.
I don't know if another thing I was thinking about was probably a bad idea. I'm just gonna go out and say that is having like a server for solo players, I guess.
Yeah, the only thing you'd have to have enough solo players to justify having a server for that. And I mean, for crying out loud, we struggle to find people in normal servers, so I mean,
yeah, that would definitely make that part harder. It's just the what do you call it? I mean, how often do we run into solo sleepers? Pretty often, right?
Honestly, yeah, more than you would think.
And it doesn't feel that good destroying their ship.
Yeah, you feel bad because like, this guy's
bad.
trying to play by himself.
Yeah, and you don't really know if you don't know if it's got 2 people. Where if you got 2 people on a sloop, like that's a solid ship. You got a fighting chance.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a solo player, I mean, like we just took down a solo player in a sloop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's not like it's the most rewarding thing for us and for them. It's like, well, I'm
just wasted like 3 hours of solo gameplay just to get sunk.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's the best idea for someone to add in, but I don't know. Hard to say.
It's just a thought.
Hard to say. But definitely like a solo sloop option. Not a sloop, but like a solo ship.
Yeah.
A ship that's designed for 1 person. You queue in. It's your one ship. It's easier to manage. Yeah, definitely that's what I would be thinking.
Yeah, I feel you.
Anything else you can think of that you would want added?
Not really off the top of my head right now. No, I think we covered a lot of what we wanted.
Yeah. Looking at the current state of the game and what you think is going to happen, in terms of where the game's at right now, it's in a pretty good spot.
I would definitely say so, yeah.
Or I mean, if you haven't played it, obviously, grab some friends and play it.
Yeah.
Not the best game to play by yourself, but people do it all the time. Yeah. It's on the Games Pass, so that's definitely a good place to try it. You can do like a 3-month trial of the Game Pass for $1, I think.
Oh, that's still a thing? Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it's still a thing, but it might become a thing again. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
Either way, the Games Pass is pretty cheap. It's not that big of an investment.
I would recommend.
The most recent update that came out, I think, was called the Legends of the Sea of Thieves. Yeah,
Hmm.
the Legends of the Sea. And this is a good update in the sense that it adds like some more lore to the game as well as like things to find in the world.
Yeah.
I guess if you're not familiar with what it did, it just added like a bunch of like little
To Gilded
objects.
Voyages.
They added little. Well, the Gilded Voyages was part of the update, but it's not the Legends of the Sea update.
Oh, okay.
The Legends of the Sea update adds like little bits of lore to like each island based on people in real life who have played the game and have done something cool there. Basically.
Also, isn't there a new NPC faction or person that you go to and like find like stories of legendary pirates?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So,
Okay.
I think her name's Umbra. I can't remember what island. I think she's on some island, on the western part of the map.
Right.
But you've not played Breath of the Wild, have you? Right, Bryce?
Think that about what?
I said you haven't played Breath of the Wild, have you?
Oh, no.
Okay, so in Breath of the Wild, one of the big things that made that game pretty interesting to explore this idea called Korok seeds.
Okay.
And they would just be like randomly placed, but in areas that would like you would naturally feel like you should go there and explore and discover.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like you'd go to like to the top of a mountain and there'd be a Korok seed there, and you'd interact with it, and it would give you something in return. In that game, I think it was like progress towards increasing your item capacity.
Oh.
So this kind of feels like that, where it's adding things you can interact with that they give you doubloons and achievements and stuff.
Oh.
And
That's cool.
it kind of adds a little bit of like discovery to islands, even
Okay.
if you've already been to them. So it kind of adds like a little bit of honestly adds like a little bit of depth to the adventure and discovery part of the
Very
game.
cool, very
So there's like things to interact with in the world that have a real story that like someone in real life actually did and added to the game. So stuff like that I think is pretty cool. So that's the most recent update to the game. What is it, January right now? So
Yep.
the year 2 update would ideally be in March, but it'd probably get pushed back to April again.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's when Flameheart's gonna come in.
Right. For sure.
I think that's what they're planning. They've kind of been I wouldn't say slow with their monthly updates, but they've kind of been repeating the same last one the past 3 times.
Yeah, it just feels like they're like, hey, you did the bone thing, now do this very similar thing with like ashen chests.
Well, the update that I've liked the most since the anniversary was the Ashen
Yeah.
the Ashen chest and Ashen key update.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, they had a really good reward tied to them with the sword and the pistol, and now I think it's a
Right.
blunderbuss.
Mm-hmm.
But you would go out and get the chest, and then you'd have to go and find a key and do all that. So they knew it was a good idea, obviously, because they've kind of repeated it They've repeated it like 2 or 3 times by now. I think we're on phase 3.
Yes.
And I'm sure phase 4 will be the sniper rifle, and then they'll have to do something else, maybe.
Right.
So I think they've kind of have that running as like a maintenance, content to
Right.
keep people busy while in the background they've been working on something hopefully big for the year 2 update, which I'm hoping. I mean, they've obviously alluded to it in the last Seabound Soul update that it'll be that.
Mm-hmm.
So some more Flameheart Tall Tales.
Neat.
Yep. Any closing remarks?
I mean, overall, I know it sounds like we had more I think we did have more negatives than positives, but to the most part, I feel like they're nitpicking or very minor at best.
I mean, also they're coming from people that have played this game for
Right. So we know the ins and outs of this game.
Hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah. So overall, this game is very solid, and the these minor flaws and problems, while they do, are annoying, they don't come close to crushing the value that is this game.
Also, most of those minor flaws or problems we have with the game are like super end game content.
Exactly.
I mean, you'd have to play this game for hundreds of hours before you'd start really feeling
Noticing.
like you'd be feeling those kind of things. Overall, this has been one of my favorite games of the past couple of years,
For sure.
and I think it will continue to be as they continue to update it, hopefully. So, otherwise, thanks for sticking around for the end of the video. I meant to put this in the beginning, but Bryce, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Well, I don't stream a lot right now because I'm an intern at school, so 5 days a week I'm teaching. But if I ever do start streaming again, just BrycePat98 on Twitch. And I like to stream like strategy games or just whatever I feel like playing, but I do love my strategy. So if you want to come watch, who knows, maybe I'll stream again over the summer when I have time.
Oh yeah, that's when you have time.
Well, I
have no time in the summer.
Yeah.
And then you guys know where to find me. I stream over on Twitch, not the most consistently because I'm also pretty busy, but that's at just twitch.tv/Murdog. And then obviously also here on YouTube, and I have an Instagram link down below as well. Anyways, thanks for sticking around. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me out a lot. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.